General improvement in conditions by sunset, with a few lingering showers and thunderstorms mainly over portions of the northwest and central Bahamas tonight. Showers may be locally heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times, especially during the afternoon hours. You'd expect
This is the ZNS Network, providing radio and high-definition television services for the entire Bahamas. ZNS Network is operated by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. It is located at Harcourt Rusty Bethel Drive, Centerville, Nassau. Our programming is designed to inform, educate, and entertain. We invite you to join us.
The following is a preamble of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Whereas 481 years ago, the rediscovery of this family of islands, rocks and keys, heralded the rebirth of the New World. And whereas the people of this family of islands, recognizing that the preservation of their freedom will be guaranteed by a national commitment to self-discipline, industry, loyalty, unity, and an abiding respect for Christian values and the rule of law. Now, know we therefore, we the inheritors of and successors to this family of islands, recognizing the supremacy of God and believing in the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual, do hereby proclaim in solemn praise the establishment of a free and democratic sovereign nation, founded on spiritual values, and in which no man, woman, or child shall ever be slave or bondsman to anyone or their labor exploited, or their lives frustrated by deprivation, and do hereby provide by these articles for the indivisible unity and creation under God of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
It's Thursday, June 9th, 2022, and the morning edition is live. On today's show, motorists continue to feel the pinch at the pumps. Our ZNS Sports reporter relives the events of that tragic plane crash in Long Island. And a former prime minister shares why feeding ourselves is definitely the way to go. So let's start the morning off right.
Edition is brought to you by We Buy, You Sell Company, your leading hurricane impact windows, doors, and tile specialist.
You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning edition. I'm LaDawn Davis.
And good morning, everybody. What about those Boston Celtics last night, 2 games to 1? LaDawn, I haven't seen you in quite some time. How have you been?
How was Baratari?
Baratari was so nice. The McKinsey, the Charltons, the organizers, they treated me so well. I didn't even feel like coming by. They treat me better than I get treated here at ZNS and I get treated at home.
So where the flower cake and the fish and
flower cake is Cat Island.
Well,
the water was rough. Don't forget there was a lot of rain. We had a lot of rain, so I didn't bring you back anything, but we're going to go fishing one of these weekends. A lot of places ask us, and crabs are walking, so we're going to go crab walking. But I'm not into none of that right now. What about those Boston Celtics last night? Did you get to watch the game?
I was in the middle, back and forth. But I saw that you guys won, so I said, yeah, Fish is going to be to work tomorrow.
I'm so happy to be back here in this chair. I haven't seen Ladon since last week, and I came back on a great morning. And we are in for a great show. We have young artists in studio today. Jamal,
tell me about that.
Jamal Cyril. He painted some pictures of some local persons, and he decided to paint a picture of you and I. And he's going to unveil that this morning here on the Morning Edition. And you also had a chance to speak with the former Prime Minister. How was that?
Yeah, I spoke to Mr. Christie. I went into his backyard, and he was showing me all of the fruits and the vegetables that he has there. He's on retirement, so he's having a great time showing me his green thumb. He definitely has a green thumb.
And then we also want to stay tuned to that story with our Ahmad Knowles. When I heard about that plane crash on Sunday, I immediately called him. I wasn't getting no answers from him. I was a little worried. I also called Agatha and Jiminita because they traveled into Cat Island. They stopped into Long Island, and they went into Eleuthera. Thank God everybody is safe, and I'm looking forward to that from Ahmad. But let's take a look at what's happening weather-wise as we get set. We are waking up to 77 degrees. Mostly cloudy, wind north at 1 mile per hour, humidity 100%. Now, a moist and unstable air mass lingering over the Bahamas, interacting with an upper level trough will continue to trigger periodic showers and thunderstorms across the country. Meanwhile, weak ridging will remain, gentle breezes and muggy conditions today. For all areas, weather mostly cloudy, very warm and humid with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Showers may be locally heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times, especially during the afternoon hours. Your daytime high temperature 77 degrees Friday, overnight low of 88. And as we look ahead to the next 2 days, Friday, we're expecting some rain early in the morning, a shower or two. 86 in the day, 77 at night. And then on Saturday, it clears up a bit. Times of clouds, but we should have some spry here and there. 86 in the day, 78 at night.
A mass shooting taking place overnight in the Baintown community, leaving one person dead and others nursing injuries. Press liaison officer Police Superintendent Audley Peters telling reporters that first responders arrived to a bloody scene.
Curtis Street off of Finlayson Street in the community of Baintown as a result of a shooting incident. On the arrival of our first responding officers, they were directed to the rear of a residence where they were informed that 4 persons were congregated, and as a result of a shooting, 4 of them were shot. They found a male lying on the ground suffering from wounds consistent with gunshots, and 3 males were transported to the hospital where one of them is in critical condition and the others, their condition are not known at this time.
Bahamas Power and Light has come up with a contingency plan for the summer months, a peak consumption period of up to 260 megawatts. Public Works Minister, the Honorable Alfred Sears, revealing during his contribution to Wednesday morning's budget debate that provisions have been made to up that figure to as much as 323.5 megawatts. This, he said, gives BPL room to respond in the event there is a power failure.
To achieve this, Madam Speaker, there will be a number of rental agreements with Agreco and Sun Utilities, totaling 83 megawatts to provide adequate, highly reliable generation to complement the generation of BPL, which is normally at 241.5 or 1 megawatts, to meet the desired 323.5 megawatts to service the projected peak demand for 2022.
Now for a look at the latest crime figures as released by National Security Minister the Honorable Wayne Munro during the budget debate Tuesday afternoon. In the case of a serious matter, there was an 18% increase from 1,580 last year to sit at 1,872. The increase is due to the heavily populated islands of New Providence and Grand Bahama, while the Family Islands recorded a 23% decrease over the same period of January to May 31st, 2022.
Our research suggests that the trafficking of illegal firearms and ammunition by transnational criminal organizations and the sale by local gangs result in easy access to weapons by criminal elements in our nation. It is important to note a fact that is self-evident. The Bahamas does not manufacture guns, ammunition, and with the exception of 1 or 2 cannabis plants, nor do we produce drugs.
The Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Economic Affairs recently leading a delegation to the Middle East for high-level talks. While in Exuma this weekend, the DPM shared with us the outcome of those meetings.
They have great things they're doing there. It was good to learn a few of what they are trying to achieve. They're getting into tourism business. We can teach them a thing or two. We've been able to get some technical support for Bahamas Air and, of course, some of our other initiatives like airport development. But we're also going to teach them a little bit about tourism development. They love the idea of our people-to-people program. They love the idea of our Bahama Host program. So we're going to show them how to do tourism. They've only been doing tourism in Saudi Arabia for the last 4 years. So this was a significant moment to connect with them. One of the things that our Prime Minister determined in coming to office is that we need to reconnect with the world. And in doing so, we build relationships, we create opportunities, we attract investments, and really, we take our place in the world once more.
Aside from tax exemptions and concessions, the proposed budget also makes way for some major changes to provisions in real property tax requirements. This comes as officers at the Department of Inland Revenue completes the New Providence 2022 reassessment program. It's another step in the government's efforts to streamline and sustain its revenue collection process.
Reassessed all properties in New Providence, and of course some values went up, but of course some values went down. What it was, the intent of the project was to ensure that all values were accurate and correct. It was to make sure that there was equity across the board. So you have persons in the same neighborhood. If you are exempt, your neighbor by and large should be exempt unless their castle is a castle and your house is a little house.
Well, let's now take it out to the streets where Corporal Patrick Kemp is standing by with your morning traffic. Good morning, Corporal Kemp.
Good morning, Fisher. Good morning, the Dawn. Today is certainly a great day. Presently in the area of Jerome Avenue and Wolf Road. And traffic has already picked up for this morning. Persons are going to their various destinations. And I just want to encourage the drivers today to please drive with due care and attention. Fisher, green, I don't know if green is the color for the day, but we could talk about that on a different level, a different day. I have here with me a concerned citizen, also a driver off the streets of New Providence, Mr. Nixon.
How you doing, Mr. Kemp?
And Mr. Nixon has a concern, and we spoke on many occasions, and he said, man, he has a concern he would like to voice in reference to these drivers and the way they drive and the manner in which they drive. Mr. Nixon, what are some of your concerns?
Good morning, Bahamas, and yes, Mr. Kemp, my concern is basically the roundabout, dealing with people how they move around the roundabout, and my other concern is about dealing with people driving without driver's license and insurance.
So, what I did, Mr. Nixon, you want to hold this here for me. What I did, Mr. Nixon, there were a few times I have spoke on the uses of the roundabout, and I just want to remind the members of the public out there, please, when you're driving a roundabout, like Mr. Nixon has stated, as a concerned driver himself, if you notice here, there are 2 lanes. Most of the accidents that take place on the roundabout, Nixon, like what your concerns are. If you're on the outer lane, I want you to follow me. Persons have the right to continue going straight, or you can make a left turn on the roundabout. The problem is when the persons in the outer lane decides to cross over into the inner lanes, cross the drivers in the inner lane, as they are continuing either straight or making a right turn, and this is how a lot of accidents happen. So as a concern that you have, Mr. Nixon, and the proper uses of the roundabout, please, when you enter the roundabout, select your lane before going into the roundabout. If you're in the outer lane, you have a choice of making a left turn or continuing straight. If you're in the inner lane, you can continue straight. Also, you can continue making a right turn. The problem is when you cross over. And we do have the same concern, Mr. Nixon, with persons who are driving without insurance and license. You have your driver's license on you? I hope you do.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, sir.
Read what the back of that license says.
this driver, this license should be in the passenger's hands at all times, the holder of the driver's license.
And that's exactly what the law says, that you must be in possession of your driver's license at all times. It's a good thing you had yours on you. I would give you a ticket, right? Also, you have to drive with your insurance. It is a ticketed offense, but the law has been amended where if you don't have your identification, driver's license, or insurance, you can be detained until the proper documents are brought to the station. So please have those on you. Lately, we had a fatality in the Camp Road area, St. Margaret's Graveyard area, where a male was struck while leaving work and heading home to his family. We are still seeking the public's help in locating that vehicle that might be involved, and I'm going to ask the members of the public to please, anybody has any information on a white vehicle with a dark bottom panel, no rims or hood caps to the vehicle, the damage will be extensively to the left side of the vehicle, the windshield, fender, hood, light. Please, any information that you have, for the sake of bringing this matter to a close, please report that to the police so that we can help conclude this matter for the families out there. Somebody has to know something. Somebody always knows something. And I want to encourage you to please be a brother's keeper and share the information. Mr. Nixon, today is a good day.
It's a blessed day.
Use this roundabout properly.
I will. And I pray that the team and people understand and follow your lead, sir.
Keep your license on you at all times.
Yes, sir, I will.
Back to you in studio, Fisher and Ladon.
Awesomely, this is a beautiful experience. I can't lie. This is my first time doing this sort of charity work, and I mean, it feels good to help out, you know. There's a Can Drive coming up, and other initiatives are part of the Giving a Helping Hand campaign, and I encourage anyone that's willing to lend their support in any way, shape, or form to come through and give of your time.
One network.
This used to be the waiting terminal for the airport. It's now gone.
We have the most experienced team covering hurricane.
But when Hurricane Irma makes landfall here in New Providence in a few hours,
we cover the entire Bahamas before, during, and after the storm. One network covers every island, rock, and key. We are the best because we have the best. For hurricane coverage, there's only one network. The ZNS Network.
It was a busy holiday weekend as at least 5 homecomings and regattas were held on various islands. We spoke to the Minister of Tourism and Aviation, the Honorable I. Chester Cooper, who was on the move as well.
People are traveling around, people are going home. That's why we call them homecoming. We get to reconnect with our family and our friends. But most importantly, it's great for culture.
The minister feels blessed to be responsible for tourism during this time.
My focus is to get Bahamians back to the islands. We've had some great programs over the years, but we're now going to be pushing more and more domestic tourism to ensure that these island communities thrive.
And after regattas and homecomings were postponed the last 3 years due to COVID, it's great to see how many persons flocking to the various islands this past weekend.
We determined that it's time to open the economy, time to get these festivals and regatta going. Bahamians are loving it. The energy is very strong. The economy is doing very well. These communities rely very heavily on homecomings and regattas. I had the chance to go over to Long Island. Nowhere to stay, no rental cars. Everyone's making money. A lot of people rely on these homecomings for their income for the entire year. If they get a good outcome from regatta, they can pretty much survive the rest of the year on the income that they make.
It was once a trend to jump on the plane and head to the United States. Now it's island time.
People love Exuma. People love these islands. People want to come to the fresh breeze. You know, during this COVID period, people have rediscovered the islands of the Bahamas. It's safe. The air is fresh and clean, and our people are warm and friendly. It's good to rediscover everything we talk about, we rave about, we sell to the international world. People are now experiencing at home, and that's what it's all about.
Well, while motorists here in the capital complain about the increase in fuel at the pumps, Family Islanders have been facing a similar fate for years now. Here's what Bahamas Petroleum Dealers Association Vice President Vasco Bastian had to say on the issue.
$7.39 of the Esso in the Providence. Imagine Robust and Shell and Esso in the Family Islands, where the logistics is different, where they have to now ship their gas from Nassau to the Family Islands. Come on, and additional costs. And shipping has gone up as well.
Royal Fidelity taking a key step to help its clients manage wealth and meet their financial needs. The opportunity presenting itself at the company's one-day business economic outlook, held under the theme Future Forces World Changing Ideas. Here's our Vice President of Investment Banking, Jim Wilson.
The intention is to keep Bahamians informed as to what the future holds. What are the future technologies that are coming that are going to impact our lives? What are the future trends that are going to impact our lives? What's happening in the rest of the world right now that's going to impact our lives? Just keeping Bahamians informed and future trends. And so anybody who has an interest in whether it be blockchain, whether it be the events that are happening right now, the geopolitical events happening in Europe right now. How do those things impact the lives of Bahamians and the investment opportunities for Bahamians?
Well, the event mirroring what took place in the Cayman Islands.
Our target audience is anybody in the educational field, anybody who is university students, it's business leaders, it's government leaders, it's anybody who has an interest and understands that we don't live in a bubble and everything that happens, everything that's happening outside of the Bahamas has an impact on us here in the Bahamas.
To the break, we take a look back at today in Bahamian history. On June 9, 1932, Fort Fincastle was hit by a heavy electric storm, which destroyed the telephone signal station, and business came to a standstill as the storm raged for 7 hours. Also on this day in 1971, the smallest living baby ever born at the Rand Memorial Hospital over in Grand Bahama died after 1 week. The premature little girl, which was born after a 6-month pregnancy at only 17 ounces, was perfectly formed.
This is John Pinder, MP for Central and South Abaco. I want to reach out to all Abaconians and make sure that we are mindful of being prepared for this upcoming hurricane season, whether in terms of food resources, water resources, flashlights and batteries, and know where your safe spot is to go to in case of a major storm.
For hurricane coverage, there's only one network, the ZNS Network.
This is where it happens. Those moments that impact our lives. Giving you the information that you need this hurricane season. Wherever there is news, we're there.
Continue to tell their stories of what transpired on that fatal plane crash in Long Island recently. Our very own sports reporter, Amajal Knowles, shares his experience of reporting that ill-fated crash to the eyes of much more than just a reporter. Here's Lord Allen with that.
You know, it's always this story. You got to cover the story, but, you know, you can't forget the human element of things sometimes.
That brings us to ZNS reporter Amajal Knowles, who this weekend told a story that tugged at the heartstrings of many, that of Sunday's plane crash near Deadman's Key that claimed the life of a young mother. But Amajal's story is anything but one through the eyes of a reporter. Rather, it's one of many on the ground that day providing help.
School and barefoot, they went ahead of me to get some breakfast or look for some breakfast. And you would message me and ask me if I heard anything about, you know, plane crash. We didn't hear anything, but as soon as you said that, like literally a minute later, Sco and Barefoot came in and said a lady was telling them about a crash.
From there, he, along with cameraman Roscoe Gibson and radio personality Ronald Sims, made their way to a track road off Queens Highway into an isolated marshland about 2 miles from the Deadman's Key Airport.
From there to the crash site, it was probably maybe 3 to 4 mile journey in, rough terrain, swamp, mud. You had to do all this barefoot, so because obviously the mud and stuff, you don't want to get your shoes dirty.
Once they arrived to the site, the three were joined by a team of volunteers, officials, and victims. He says at this point, it was confirmed that at least one person had died.
People that were there were trying to, obviously get the body back to the police vehicles, and it may have been maybe 2-3 police along with some other volunteers, maybe 3-4 volunteers, I want to say. I think the natural human instinct in me kicked in and said, hey, obviously we're here covering the story, but, these people also need help.
With little thought, Amo, Sco, and Barefoot lifted the deceased back to the main road, an experience he remembers as both physically and emotionally taxing.
The young lady that passed away, I'd actually seen her the night before, and then my friend here was a part of the crash as well. Coming home and everything settling down, the adrenaline wearing off, and, starting to take in what had transpired, you kind of, be like, wow, that really happened.
Amo says nothing could have prepared him for this experience.
Something about this just felt more, surreal. Just having seen that young lady just 7-8 hours prior. It's a rough job.
He says he is changed as a professional, but remains committed to the importance of his job.
I'm Amajal Knowles, and I'm a proud journalist of the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
After retiring from politics in 2017, former Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, has been putting his green thumb to good use by planting hundreds of native fruit trees and plants in his backyard farm. He took camerawoman Agatha Christie and I on a tour of his agricultural masterpiece.
When I come out here, I put this on for about 4 weeks using Magnum moss, and I'll show you that. And it lasts for that period of time.
That's former Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, giving a farmer's 101 lesson on the process to cultivate various colors of the croton plant. Crotons are one of his favorites, evident by the large portion of the popular plant scattered throughout his yard on Cable Beach. Mr. Christie wasted no time in getting his hands dirty while showing me what goes into his plant treatment process.
And I take some of this Rootone power, which facilitates the growth. And if you hold that, you'll see what I'll do. Okay? I'll wrap this around here to make sure it goes right around. Okay? I'll secure the bottom. Okay? And the top. And I'll put another piece of foil to ensure that it's absolutely secure.
Crotons are not the only plants growing abundantly in Mr. Christie's backyard. Avocado, guava, sapodilla, soursop, and hundreds of coconut plants are catching up and right on schedule. Mr. Christie says he is happy to receive the benefits of his labor like a farmer who's been in the business for years.
Farmers normally grow things you eat. There's a major industry in the ornamental industry. That is, these plants that decorate your yard, landscapers use them. So they use palm trees, they use this, the other. I just decided what's easiest for me is what I was growing in my yard. Right? I didn't have to go out to look for any stock. Right? So I took the seeds that fell from these trees and they became these plants.
But the lesson didn't end there. Mr. Christie took camerawoman Agatha and I to his property in Adelaide filled with the pinkest and sweetest cocoa plums. He says fruit is a true testament of the gift of his green thumb and that of his family.
My grandfather used to be a major farmer with his son, Uncle Fred Allen, the father of Dr. David Allen, my mummy's brother. And they had a packing house in McCartney Lane off Wolf Road, where all of the sisters, my aunts and mother and those, would get together during the tomato season, and they would package tomatoes for export.
Mr. Christie encouraged Bahamians to tap into backyard farming as it will not only save a buck or two, but the investment will rake in even bigger profits.
I embrace what God is about to do here. And if God brings you to it, He definitely will take you through it.
Hurricane Dorian tested their resilience, but in its wake, they remained steadfast. 2 years later, they're building back stronger, better, and bigger. Join us live from East End on June 13th through 17th as we bring to you the spirit of survival.
As an artist, I travel all over the world and I find inspiration all around me. From the people and especially the environment. I love the Bahamas with all its natural beauty. From Abaco in the north to Inagua in the south and all the wonderful and colorful islands in between. But we must all do our part to keep the Bahamas healthy and clean, now and for the future generations. That's why I want you to find a little time to do your part. I'm doing my part because I care. Do you?
And we're back in the door. We're joined by this young artist. We got to calm him down a bit. Cyril, tell us about yourself and how long have you been painting? Jamal Cyril.
My name is Jamal Cyril. I'm 24 years of age. I attended JHS and that's where I started painting. Not painting, but I took up the career of wanted to pursue my arts, and I started painting after I graduated in 2017. I've been painting for 5 years now.
So self-taught.
Yes,
and how has things been as we just step aside so the viewers can see some of your painting here in the background? How's it been for you as a young painter?
It's been, I'd say, challenging at one point, but as I grew, I developed a lot of skills where I would stay home and just learn and know techniques and styles and stuff like that. So this piece, this is inspired by our culture. This is a Jonkero piece that I did for this week. And it's truly a beauty to me, and I love the bright colors, I love colors. And this piece was inspired by me personally. As a young man growing up, a flamingo, when it sits down, it stands up tall, and no matter what I went through, at the end of the day, I still will stand tall.
So how long does it take to get a painting in?
Depends on how long does it take. I'd say like a day or two, depending on what type of style it is and how motivated I am, and determined.
So you have, okay, let's get LaDawn in here now. You have two paintings in your hand. You called us last week. You wanted to give us some painting. Let me take this one. So you've painted LaDawn, right?
Yes, sir.
So where's her? Let's see LaDawn painting. That is LaDawn. So he got LaDawn in all the colors, and that's just how, that is a perfect picture of her, because that's her mood. She's just all about when it comes to, you don't know what mood she be in the morning. So what happened to my picture? Am I that not good looking that it takes you extra long to do my picture? What happened to my picture?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Your picture was
that is wonderful. I love it. That is so wonderful, Jamal. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
My picture was what? Challenging?
It was challenging.
I wouldn't say it was challenging, but how it was taken.
The picture was a bad picture. Let's just say it was a bad picture.
You can present LaDawn with a picture.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is going to go in a special place.
I would love to speak about it, the creativity about it. Most people don't realize this is built on numbers and letters. And the creativeness, this is my personal style. I wanted to be different and showcase my type of style. And There you go.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You know, I'm jealous, right? When am I getting my picture? It's challenging. It's challenging. I know I'm going to hear from all my friends today say, Fisher, he couldn't even paint your face because it's challenging. But be sure to stay tuned into the ZNS Network for news as it happens, TV and radio updates throughout the day, and then you can tune into the Northern Edition in the Bahamas tonight at 7 o'clock. Thanks a lot, Jamal, for joining us here. I'm waiting on my picture. You're welcome back. It's challenging. Thank you.
Have a great morning, everybody.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.